10,000 people have died. But you know what they're also telling you? Overestimated the number of deaths.
Then you are home.
The Valley's News Talk and Podcast. Talk Central Phoenix.
And now, back to more of the Chips and Salsa Show.
So, which of the Latin countries are you from? The one with the Civil War, the one with the cocaine, or the one with the fancy hats?
And we are back. You are listening, watching the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara. We're here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Noticeably absent is my partner in radio crime, George Ortiz, also known as Don Jorge the Alacran. Kind of miss him saying that. Maybe we should just get a recording, and then when he's not here, Julian, we can have him, Don Jorge the Alacran. We have on the phone with us today a very wonderful guest. She's one of my favorite people, especially when it comes to political punditry. The wonderful, the beautiful RACHAEL ALEXANDER, intellectual conservative. RACHAEL, thank you so much for being on today. Ready for the second half of the show?
Thank you so much, Alice.
Do we need to finish up that last story? I kind of cut you off, but you were talking about how someone just kept, we're trying to get a hold of each other, and he was texting you. Did you finish off that story? Did I cut you off?
Oh, I pretty much did. I was just going to say, you might even know who this guy is because he probably texts you the same stuff, too, all the time.
It is getting really bad. I want to also say, do you follow Jeff Prather at all, RACHAEL?
Jeff who?
Jeff Prather. He does a
I don't think so.
Well, he's a Fast and Furious whistleblower, and there's a lot of guys out there. He had a radio show in Tucson. When he started talking about COVID, all of a sudden it got canceled. So he's doing one of those where he does his kind of like a podcast on YouTube. And he kept warning people, because he's got really good intel. I got to send you his link. And he kept warning people, you better download, if you find an episode or whatever, download the episode because they're going to start cutting me off. And sure enough, I went back to listen to one of his broadcasts, I'll say, and it was no longer there. They had removed it. You're not having that problem yet, are you?
No, though, they won't come for me until after they go for people like him first.
Good. Well, you need to follow RACHAEL. RACHAEL's a fantastic writer. She's a great researcher, and you can find her on Town Hall. And do you have an intellectual conservative? Is that website still going on?
It is, and I actually do still post on my columns on that, too. Like usually a day after they come out, I'll post them there as well.
Oh, good. So they can just go to intellectualconservative.com and find all your archives of columns there, right?
Yeah, and I should mention, too, it's funny, when I look for my archives now, or, I'm looking up an old article of mine or something, I can find it easier there than I can find it on, like, Town Hall or The Stream, where I used to work. Even though those other two sites are far more popular, Google has just censored them out so much that my little website, you can now find articles a lot easier on it.
Isn't that? But that's kind of like the way things are going. It's so crazy. So you have to be like a little bit savvy on how to do that. You should give workshops to people on how to navigate the web, because it kind of keeps changing. It used to be so easy, as you said, you'd be looking for something and, Google would pop it up. I tried to use GoDuckGo, and it's a little bit better, or Bing. But
and I think DuckDuckGo piggybacks some of their results off of Google, because I'll run into the same, censorship type of issues sometimes on DuckDuckGo that I do on Google.
Is that right?
Yep.
Man, oh man. Well, speaking of censorship and hard to find stuff, let's kind of make a little switch, and somebody like to censor. Regarding Republican politics, as we know, there are some establishment Republicans, and I think it's a good thing. They're kind of revealing themselves. And so, of course, the left is freaking out and saying, the Republican Party, they're in such disarray and they're a mess and everything. But, RACHAEL, I kind of think it's not a bad idea to maybe purify our party a little bit. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, because when you are the party outside of power, it kind of forces you to coalesce together, and you have something to unite, that unite against the party in power. So it's inevitable that it's going to happen. It's going to force to unite, which, wouldn't be a bad thing, because the left was able to get in and divide us between the rhinos and Trump. And I was surprised that they were able to do it, but that's because their tactics have become 10 times smarter. Trump was this New York liberal Republican, former Democrat. For them to portray him as some extremist and use him to divide the party, I was shocked they got as far as they were. So it is a good time for us to kick back and try to unite and get rid of some of these very divisive types like Liz Cheney. I hope Matt Gaetz is able to get rid of her, and so instead we can sit back and watch the Democrat Party implode, because I don't know if you watched, but since Biden got into office, they have been imploding and imploding over all kinds of issues, all their different factions, because they're just a bunch of special interests. They aren't aligned together based on any principles. All their little special interests are now fighting with each other.
I was just talking to somebody about that the other day, and I was telling them what the Democrats are very good at. They've always been better at it than us. They hide their dirty laundry better. Plus, it's easier when you have most of the media on your side as well. So true.
Yeah.
So they are in very much disarray and so radical. Did I think I heard or saw that Liz Cheney has maybe a 5% approval rating or something like that. And I used to be a Liz Cheney fan a long time ago. I thought she was really great.
Yeah, it's really bad. They're saying there's no way she can even get reelected at this point. So I don't know if they're going to be able to force her out of office. I doubt it. But they can definitely defeat her from getting reelected.
We have to have good candidates, and I always like to appeal. I know you're the same way, Rachel, but if there are people out there that need to be in office and probably should be in office, they just haven't thought about it, and now is the time to come forward. And it doesn't have to necessarily be at the congressional level, or you don't have to run for governor, but our school boards, the lower offices, I don't know if lower is not a good word to use, but I just mean the more local offices, they need good people in there. They need good conservatives and Republicans, and that's kind of where we can have a good base to start.
Yeah, and maybe that's another topic we need to explore. How do we get people interested in those lower offices? Because a lot of people, one, they want the glory. They don't want to start out with the low-level offices behind the scenes that never get any of the fun. And number two, a lot of those positions don't pay. And number three, and this is why I never sat on my HOA board, I would be bored out of my mind. I couldn't do a job like that.
I have been on an HOA board. And, it was interesting to me because you get to find out the little details about the inner workings of what happens. But no, I think you're right. So when are you going to run for office, Rachel? What should we run?
No. We've had that conversation. No way. I will never run for office. It's never happened. But you, on the other hand, have run, and you have won.
And I always owe a huge debt of gratitude to Rachel. Rachel was this is before social media was even a thing. And she's the one, she set up my Facebook and was such a great advisor at the time. And that's why it's really important to find good people like Rachel that you can go, because there's so many things you can look at. You can pick up I was going to say a paper, but you can pick up any kind of publication or go on site, and somebody wants you to listen to this or go to this guy, whatever. But Rachel is such a good source because she's been around for a while, and she's a good researcher. She can determine facts, and she's a recovering attorney. Do you ever want to go back and do attorney work again?
No, and I never told the haters this, but I'd actually been trying to get out of practicing law after 2 years. I only wanted to practice law for 2 years. So the fact I even ended up in it for 10 years is far longer than I ever wanted to be in it. So it all turned out good. I wanted to go into politics. I didn't want to stay in law.
You paid your dues there. What I do want to ask you about too, are you up on this AntiSecond Amendment bill that Sheila Jackson Lee is proposing? Have you read about that?
After you told me we were going to talk about it, I did look it up.
Can you believe the stuff that's in there?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, not only are they going to create a federal database of everyone who owns a gun, but they're going to make you take a mental health assessment test.
Oh, I hadn't even seen that, Rachel. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. And they can tweak that to make sure that normal people like you and I wouldn't even be able to pass the test.
Oh, my gosh. Well, how much of a chance do you think this thing has?
Well, with the Democrats in, that's kind of scary. I know there's a few Second Amendment Democrats that will hold out, and this bill did seem rather extreme. So I think the bill would have to be toned down at least a little bit. But yeah, like you couldn't both, create a national gun registry and make somebody take a psychiatric exam. Both of that, that's way too much.
And it even had, I think they want to not only create a database of gun registration, but also they want you to register your ammo.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
yeah,
it's unbelievable. I shouldn't say it's unbelievable because anymore, whatever comes out, it's really not unbelievable. Okay, I need to kind of ask. We're down to like a minute here of the segment. Julian, shall we keep Rachel on for another segment? Is that all right, or we're good? Okay, can you stay with us to the end of the show?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay,
sure.
Great. All right, what we're going to do is take our last break here and come back for the last segment. We're talking to Rachel Alexander. She is a conservative commentator, editor of The Intellectual Conservative, and she's a recovering attorney. That's why she's so good. That's why she's so wonderful, one of the reasons. And we'll be talking some more politics when we come back with the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara here on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix. Don't go away because we got lots and lots and lots to guac on about. All right, come back, Chipsters.
This is the Valley's News Talk and Podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix, a Central City radio station.